Welcome to Last Week in Warframe, a series where I keep you updated on the past week of Warframe, from announcements made by DE that don't necessarily warrant their own videos to community fanart, posts, and updates. So, without further ado, let's go over these announcements and news from the 3rd of March to the 9th. Starting this week's episode off, we did have update 24.4 going live on PC. Now, this update included the Warframe Hildren, the Limbo Deluxe Collection, the Melee 3.0 Phase 1 changes, the signature weapon of Revenant, the Tatsu, as well as a bunch of other additions, changes, and fixes. If you do need to know all the information that changed in that update, I did make a video in regards to that, and you can watch that, or you can go to the update notes and read them yourself. Now, there was something I failed to mention in the original patch note video, and that was the following. Mace's Peacemaker will no longer trigger Arcane Velocity. Arcane Velocity can still be triggered outside of Peacemaker, and will apply if Peacemaker is used during the duration. Now, Operation Buried Debts also went live with the update, and I have my own video covering the whole operation as far as we have gone at the moment, so if you want to watch that, make sure you do so. A link will be in the description below, but you can get the Opticore Vandal, as well as a bunch of emblems and sigils, and the Amalgam mods. It will eventually unlock the Exploiter Orb Mother Boss Fight. Now, as with each of these major updates, and of course a mainline update, there are feedback Megathreads. So we have general feedback, Hildren feedback, Melee 3.0 Phase 1 feedback, and of course Operation Buried Debts feedback. Now, in update 24.4, for those wondering about what happened to Incursions, they were removed in that update, but as for the rewards, they have been spread across other drop tables. We also had Hotfix 24.4.1 that provided a boatload of fixes, and in these fixes there was one that was added in at a later date, and that is that Avara can no longer remain cloaked while performing a bullet jump when using Prowl while solo or as the host. We also had Hotfix 24.4.2, which brought some more changes to Melee 3.0 Phase 1, and that is that manual blocking has returned when you only have a melee weapon equipped in a mission, so no secondary or primary equipped, and you can block by using the right mouse button. There were also changes and fixes to the controller, so melee channeling can no longer be rebound on controller due to it completely breaking Melee 3.0 Phase 1, and they fixed a widespread issue where players using controllers could no longer aim after the introduction of the melee changes. The Plains of Eidolon also got some changes and fixes. They removed Hildren's shield gate mechanic that was applying to Eidolon lures, resulting in invulnerability for 3 seconds after their shields were destroyed, before becoming vulnerable again, and they also made some fixes to the Terrorist, such as it getting stuck and resulting in it teleporting across the map, and a fix for the Terrorist not using abilities. Now for Hildren, her main blueprint was moved to the Vox Solaris 2nd rank, so you can get that at Agent. They also reduced the camera angle when casting Hildren's Haven, and 3 fixes were also made. As for changes, they made improvements towards the operator's curly hairlines to show less scalp. They balanced the Jack Katarg spark effects for less visual noise, and the Rakta Dark Dagger's innate upgrade on equip is now called Mind Haze. As for Operation Buried Debt fixes, they classified and corrected the Buried Debts data hashes section on the World State window, and they updated the Diluted Thermia description. Diluted Thermia now has a special pickup in the UI as well, and Amalgam mods can now be chat linked and found in the Codex. There were also 2 fixes. Now, as for the general fixes in the hotfix, they are up on your screen. There was then Hotfix 24.4.3, which increased the Coolant Rachnoid's chance to even drop a mod to 30%. They made a small optimization to multi-core processing, and 3 fixes were made. Moving on, we had a controller issues Megathread, so if you're having issues with your controller, make sure to go to the forum thread in the description down below and share your issues. Okay, general Nightwave feedback challenges and acts. This is a post by DE Bear, which reads the following. Hey Tenno, Nightwave is here, and there has been a lot of back and forth both on the forums and internally about the challenges and how to accrue Nightwave standing. Series 1 of Nightwave is our first attempt at this addition to Warframe, and we want to thank you for sharing your thoughts and requests. We'll be using this thread to gather feedback from everyone on all platforms. So at the first pass, we are seeing some concerns rise to the top. I-10 challenges being too RNG dependent, survival challenges being too long in one sitting, and friend and clan challenges is an issue for players who have no friends, or their friends don't play Warframe. For some of these elite challenges, we were attempting to speak to the endurance runners, but it seems we may have missed the mark. If you liked it or didn't like it, comment below. In the end, we wanted to make a series of challenges that spoke to every type of player, but we do not want to do so at the cost of enjoyment overall. Nightwave is still new to the community, and we are expecting to see more feedback come as the series progresses. You have only seen a percentage of all acts, so as Series 1 progresses, we need your feedback on the appearing acts. We've seen players responding with some possible solutions that would make these changes more piecemeal, balance the resources needed to complete the challenges, and assess social requirements to get your goodies. We will be applying what we have learned to Nightwave Series 2, but can only improve with constructive, detailed posts about what you like, didn't like about acts. Knowing what you like is just as important as what you don't like. We also had DE Rebecca replying to a forum thread asking and trying to clarify why DE doesn't allow gifting of Tennogen items. Rebecca did quote reply a user that outlined some of the issues and with the following statement. This is largely correct and we do want to do it. So hopefully one day we will, but there is a mountain of reasons as mentioned here and some not. Currency conversion issues also exist. So there's that. If you care about gifting of Tennogen items, make sure to have a read of that quoted response to get the gist of things. Also announced last week was a Twitch Drops campaign that is running for each of the double X amount of booster weekend. So if players have their Warframe and Twitch accounts linked together and watch a Warframe partnered streamer when they kill a Twitch monster, they will receive a K-Drive scroll. Now we have already gone past the double affinity weekend and therefore the Greedy Milk scroll, but you can still acquire the Hang Tenno scroll and the Puppeteer scroll as of recording this video when the double credits weekend goes live on March 15th to 17th and the double resource weekend goes live on the 22nd to the 24th of March. Just remember to have your Warframe and Twitch accounts linked together when watching the Warframe partnered streamer. For Tennogen creators, the Hildren files are now available, so you can start working on Hildren Tennogen items. Okay, so now we get into a bit of a story time or a timeline for events that led up to changes that I'll be recapping soon. So on the 4th of March at 10 AM, Semlar, who is the creator of Semlar.com and the creator of a number of community-accepted tools, posted the following on his Patreon page. Why is everything broken? He posts a photo of account suspended until January 1st, 2035 due to end-user license agreement violation. He continues, well, this is awkward. Yesterday my Riven tracker went down, twice actually. It's a redundant system with a backup client in case one of them runs into problems. But it didn't go down because of technical issues. It went down because a player went out of their way to contact DE to ask them to ban my accounts. That person then proceeded to contact me on Discord to claim responsibility and warn against continuing my operations on threat of future harassment. So here is how that conversation went. He posts the following conversation. Unknown user. Hello there. Semlar. Hello. Unknown user. I am sorry to pop out from nowhere, but I think you and me have to talk. First of all, I have to admit, you're impressive. I've seen your recent projects and even what you did with Semlar.com. A lot of quality and good ideas, but this has to end unfortunately. Semlar. What do you mean by that? Unknown user. By that I mean this whole new era that you try to bring around the market. It's really good, very good intentions, a very nice and build project, but I can't allow it. Your accounts who recently got banned, I have a link with it. Semlar. Why is that? Unknown user. Well, let's say a huge part of the trader community is against what you try to create. We clearly see it as the nuclear bomb. You might not have the same point of view, and I'm sorry if I had to employ rude ways to stop you. But let's imagine if I had asked you kindly to stop. Would you have stopped? Semlar. I might have been open to a more civil discussion. You feel threatened by my website providing a more open source of trading information? Unknown user. At the end of this civil discussion, I doubt you'll abandon many hours of work. It's one of the reasons, yes. Sniping Rivens should stay as it's always been. Stone Age era, not bot era. Also, the way you get those datas are not really legit, if I'm not wrong. Anyway, nothing personal against you or else. You're probably a good person with nice skills, but I can't let this happen. Semlar. So what was your reason for contacting me today? To discourage me from trying to continue with my work? Unknown user. Indeed. Don't waste your time. Semlar. Alright, noted. Unknown user, I just hope you understand my point of view, and I'll repeat, there is nothing against you. I actually admire how good are your project. Just the trade bots are not my cup of tea, and I will not allow any public private bots. Not only my cup of tea, as I mentioned, a huge part of the trader community is against it. Outside of the conversation and continuing with the Patreon post, apparently there's a whole cabal of underground Riven traders upset with me, and this is just the tip of the iceberg. Well, that sucks. Now what? This seems to be a deliberate manual ban, which is more concerning to me than being banned by an automated system meant to discourage botting. The responsible thing to do at this point is probably to try and get in touch with someone from DE to broker a peace treaty so something like this doesn't happen again. I don't want this to escalate into a conflict by simply ignoring it and continuing on with business as usual. I will attempt to get an official verdict on this and accept whatever fallout that entails. In the meantime, I appreciate your support, but please don't do anything on my behalf that might stir up drama. I seek a peaceful resolution to this, and that will only make things more difficult. He then posts another image of unknown users saying, "Semlar is dead, boys," with Pepe emotes. We did it, Reddit. Because of the Patreon post, it was shared across the community, with a mainstay being the Warframe subreddit. The post quickly gained traction, as it usually does, and the community voiced their concerns. Eventually, DE Rebecca was tagged, and she did reply to the post saying, "This is the first time I'm hearing of it. I just looked through whatever I could find history-wise, and none of it is in English. Sadly, I have to wait for the office to open up in a couple of hours. I or someone on the team will find out more then." She then edited the post saying, "I've made contact with Semlar, and we're figuring things out." Semlar then updated his Patreon with the following: Website status update 1. Hey guys, I've spent the better part of the day talking with DE Rebecca about what happened yesterday and what it means for the future of the website, and I'm optimistic that a positive resolution can be reached within the next few days. I've also talked in great length with the person who initially reported me. I better understand why he felt motivated to do what he did, and he has apologized profusely for it. While I may not owe him any favors, I ask that you not harass him any more than he already has been. The support that I've received has been honestly overwhelming. I had no idea so many people felt so strongly about things I've made, and I want to say that I'm truly thankful for it. I will make another post when I have more information to share. The next DE post about this was on the 7th of March, when DE Rebecca made the forum post, Riven Trading and Tool Builders Coming Changes. The post reads as following. Right now, a lot is going on with the Riven trading discussions. Without getting into personal details, we are reviewing what took place. As this review was unfolded, we wanted to experiment with applying a broader change that will prevent any individual market manipulation. This will also allow tool creators fair grounds to use clear and authorized sources of data that abides by all terms and policies. Simply put, we will be trying out providing aggregated actual Riven trade value data for tool makers to use. No more basing trades off of what people are posting in trade chat as asking prices. Tool makers will have access to per platform actual trade values. When the data is set up, we will post links and explain the update cadence and data. Then tool makers can either start or continue to provide Riven trade analysis for players. Our team has started putting everything together. I'm hoping we have our first release in a couple of weeks. We are going to try doing this because we think it will allow fairer trading to occur with a standard baseline. Because Rivens vary in stats, we expect subjective value discussions to still take place. It's worth noting that we handled this matter privately over the past 2 days. However, in that time, there have been instances of very mob justice practices taking place that are below the honor of the tenor. We all live together. Reports can be sent into support where appropriate. Now, this post was also cross-shared to the Warframe subreddit, where Semlar, in response, said the following. Hey Tenno, I've been asked to make a public statement as a part of reparations for my actions and own up to the fact that while I believe my intentions to be good, the methodology I was using was decidedly not, and I will not be continuing to employ it in the future. I want to start off by providing some context about what my site does. It tracks in-game messages sent to trade chat and parses prices out of them for Rivens that people are trying to sell. It shows them all on a page to give visitors something to compare against while trying to evaluate their own Rivens. To accomplish this, I felt that more acceptable methods of obtaining those messages were not sufficient, and set about trying to connect directly to their chat servers. In pursuit of this goal, I repeatedly violated their terms of service reverse engineered the client to understand how it connected to the chat, and lost multiple accounts to automated bans in the process. I was well aware that what I was doing was wrong, and chose to do it anyway because I felt justified that my intentions were defensible. I put DE in a difficult position by providing a community resource to help players, backed by data obtained illicitly, and I want to apologize for the choices I made that led to this. DE has been remarkably cooperative, and has even offered to collaborate to some extent in creating a new safe way to obtain verified trading data from an official source that will be available to anyone who's interested. Thank you for being so understanding, and again, I'm sorry. In a separate reply to the actual cross post, a player said the following: I'm sorry for coming off as aggressive here, but the guy making a community tool is apparently feeling the need to meekly apologize, and we're being called out for mob justice because the guys that are very egotistically and blatantly running them off for providing a public service for no real personal gain isn't being publicly strung up as the reason we are not allowed to have nice things as a community. Another user said the following in response: well, mob justice is referring to the people who are literally hunting these people down in-game and getting into conversations with them that degrades into arguments. People asking for the perpetrators of the whole hunt on Semlar to be punished are hardly the ones Rev is referring to here. Mob justice is the people trying to take it into their own hands to get results by hunting down whoever is involved. To which D.E. Rebecca said, correct. Continuing on with this, Frozen Balls, a Warframe partner, said the following outside of the context of the situation. The proposed changes with the state of Rivens, etc. that Revford posted about looks good, but a question must be asked. This is looking like an auction house without that auction house. Would it be feasible to actually put an auction house in the game at all? To which Rebecca said, no, we have no plans to. This was separate to the whole Semlar conversation and was more focused on the forum post. And to finish the timeline of the Semlar situation, we had on March 8th at 6 PM a post by Semlar on his Patreon. Website status update 2.0. It has been a long, strange week. Linking back to the Reddit post we just recapped. Friday, lost access to chat servers. Monday, contact DE to discuss alternatives. Wednesday, announced new official API for Riven trading prices on all platforms. What does this mean for the site? All of the features that relied on parsing chat messages are currently down. The Riven Hunter app, dead. It literally just streamed the chat to the browser. Semlar's red text, dead. Riven's trade page, dead. Riven Appraiser, undead, but using stale data. Riven price page, undead, also using stale data. Everything else, untouched. The silver lining is that we'll have a more reliable way to get more accurate price data soon. I'm looking into alternative DE-approved methods for reviving some of these, and they may be making a comeback. I'm also working on finally getting a Discord server set up within the next day, so stay tuned for that. The events over the past week have been absolutely surreal, and I'm still processing everything that's happened. But ultimately, I think this is a net win for the players, and may open the possibility of other improvements in the future. I can't believe how supportive everyone has been, and I want everyone reading this to know how truly grateful I am. And with that, it ends the whole Semlar vs Riven Traders debacle. So moving on, we had the Deconstructing Podcast Episode 2 launching 2 weeks ago as of recording this video, so I do apologize for not posting that in the past episode of Last Week in Warframe. As for developer tweets, we have DE Connor just giving us a bit of insight into the changes made in Update 24.4 in regards to the auto-modding option, tweeting out the following. Our latest update is live, featuring the first change I made to the game with my own 2 hands. Shout out to DE Steve for encouraging me to work on our marquee feature, auto-install. To save the internet like 30 minutes of testing, all I did was reprioritize which mods the game thinks is good. It doesn't read what you're auto-equipping onto, so if your Inaros gets redirection, I apologize. This approach to prioritizing quote-unquote most universally useful mods means auto-install will usually pile damage onto weapons instead of crit or status, will not apply corrupted mods that could hinder your build, etc, etc. Enjoy. Next up in the tweets, we had a player asking Pablo, by the way, will the new trade UI be part of the main line? In which he retweeted with the following list. Yes, there's a bunch of rework screens coming, trading Arcane Manager, Dojo Room Construction, Dojo Decoration, Abilities, and the notification widget. In which another player asked, will the main menu, HUD, and equip screens in the Armory ever be redone, or are those staying permanently? I don't have an issue with any of them, but I'm curious how far the UI rework will go. To which Pablo responded, eventually everything will be redone. First, streams, there's about 1,150 of them, so it's going to be a while. HUD after. Next up, we had fellow Warframe partner Xenogelian asking DE Scott, could we get a Warframe that could perchance allow player control of enemies, or at least aesthetically look like enemies for stealth purposes? This 100% doesn't have an ulterior motive for machinima purposes. To which DE Scott replied, wanted to do this for a while, but has some big technical hurdles and content hurdles. AI animations not meant for player use, and player animations won't work on AI rigs. We then move on to Rebecca, where she was asked, could the Tatsu be added to the Revenant bundle with a price adjustment? Would like to buy them all together, was waiting for Tatsu to come out though. Thought it would be placed where it belongs. To which Rebecca said, too much time has passed I think. Would be messy to alter. Onto DE Steve's post, a player asked any chance for an indicator on the crosshair as to when a slam is going to be performed. From playing around it seems to trigger when aiming below 45 degrees under horizontal, but this is hard to eyeball. It's quite unsatisfying when you expect a slam but you do a normal attack. To which Steve said, we'll ask team, yep. Now DE Steve also did a 3-hour live stream for the launch of update 24.4. In this stream he talked about lighting in Warframe, their changes, and it was generally a really interesting stream to watch. If you do want to watch it, I'll leave a link in the description, but outside of that, he only mentioned that Tennogen round 15 will be coming according to Rebecca during the stream. So look forward to that on PC. To finish the video up, we had a post by DE Rebecca on Twitter just showcasing a bug that occurred on the test build where Hildren became a giant. But the final post in relation to a Reddit post titled, I want to see DE Rebecca and DE Megan clear the Elite Weekly Nightwave Survival Challenges on prime time tomorrow, where Rebecca replied with the following. A few ways to look at this. 1. DE swung too far and should change it. You'd be right. We are going to be wholesale changing the axe that flew too close to Endurance Runner Eliteness because all platforms are completely synced for this. We are going to be waiting for Series 2 to smash axe. Not perfect if you want this change before Sunday, but luckily they also aren't mandatory. If anyone has interpreted that as we aren't going to change anything, that's simply a mistake. 2. Let's watch them suffer. Having us play our own game for an hour isn't suffering. Failure would suck, and in this case, it would just rank up my missions failed from 278 to 279. But that's obviously not the point. There is a desire to see us hoisted by our own self-inflicted hubris of asking for 60 consecutive minutes with high stakes for failure, which we get, and as in point 1, is when we change things that make Elite way too tough. 3. Stay tuned for our own completion results because I'm absolutely doing this on the weekend. I plan on killing 3 birds with 1 stone, rare mods and both 60-minute survival ones. And that does end this episode of Last Week in Warframe. If you found the video informative, make sure to leave a like. If you think I can improve upon the series in any way, shape or form, make sure to leave it in a comment down below. Glyph codes are of course up on your screen, so if you want to get them, make sure to chuck them into the promo code section of the Warframe website. There will also be glyph codes alongside the timestamped and linked information in the description, so if you didn't get them on the screen, check there, you may get it there. And if you missed out on last week's episode, make sure to click the annotation on the screen right now, it'll take you right to it. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.